Hello and welcome to Footy Judgment. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, of course. Listen, people, Haaland to Real Madrid for 85 million. Real Madrid want Haaland if they don't get Mbappe, who actually his agent denied the claims that he actually agreed with them. There is a clause in his contract. If you don't believe me, just go read, right? I don't negotiate with them. Of course, Chelsea want to offload Gallagher, their third captain, and probably one of their best players this season, based on form. Of course, Chelsea fans don't like it. And Liverpool want a winger. Is it Olise? Is it Pedro Neto? And actually, Arsenal already quoted a price of 50 million for Amadou Onana from Everton. Should they go get a number 6 like Onana or a number 8? Or should you go and get a striker? We'll talk about it. But I'm here with two brilliant guys, of course. Jerry James is here. Goon is here. How are you guys feeling? How's everybody doing?
All good, man. Yeah, personally, you can speak for the other Chelsea fans, but for me, I couldn't care less. I want Conor Gallagher out of the door, bruv. Yeah, that would be a good one for me. I can't lie.
100%. Jerry, how are you doing? How's the feeling after the win against Arsenal?
Do it is. I was feeling all right. I was coming in there quite confident. As you've told me, obviously, behind the scenes to go and have a look at the news. Just checked on Twitter, and apparently Trent's out with a knee ligament injury. So,
yes,
yeah, man. We'll see what that entails, man. But my energy is a bit different. But I'm good, man. Happy to be on the show.
Yeah, I'm reading the news though, to be honest. But let's start with this Haaland weird news, and people are just don't believe it. But apparently, Haaland release clause is still in the contract, and if it's outside the country, is 85 million. And the question would be, if Real Madrid come knocking, should Haaland leave Man City though? That's a question that a lot of people say, yes, it's Real Madrid, but what do you think, Goonie? Like, Real Madrid after the season come knocking, 85 million. Haaland is fond of them, of course. Yes, you have Pep Guardiola and all the stuff, but do you think he should go though?
Well, I'll start off with the rumors about the release clause. When he was first signed, we did hear that news that, there would be a release clause, but I thought it was just exclusively for Real Madrid. I didn't realize it was for any foreign club. But Real Madrid is just that club where, that's for years it's been considered the elite of the elite. Like, the best players to ever play football have to go there and play. It's almost become like that. Haaland has achieved everything there is to achieve, really, from a silverware perspective at Manchester City. So I would understand if he was to make that move. Should he make that move at the moment, considering Manchester City's status? I think we can unanimously say that they are currently the best club in the world at football. If he wants to, stack trophies and continue to win, then he can do that at Manchester City, But to go to Real Madrid, I would see it more as a status thing. But at the same time, he'd be going there knowing that the elite of the elite players are going to be attracted to that club. And, for the next 10 or so years, however much time he's got left to play football, they're going to consistently be signing the best. So I could see why he'd want to go there. Obviously, there's other things outside of football. Madrid, it's a lovely place to be, beautiful weather all the time. And I think it's a place where he could handle the pressure as well, because you already know Real Madrid is a massive cooking pot, man. If they're not performing, even if they're top of the table and they're playing like I don't know, Las Palmas, and they're not playing well in the first half, they're getting booed off. They're getting booed off at half time because the fans make them, they make them hold accountability for their performances. But I think he's the type of personality that can handle that. I think he relishes that kind of pressure. But I don't know. I think he's good where it's a situation where he probably knows himself. He's good where he is at Manchester City, and he'd be good at Real Madrid. So it's a tough one for me. Honestly, it's a tough one for me. But I don't see. He's still very young. I don't even think he's like 23 or 24 yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, he's still got a lot of time to make his decision, as long as he continues with the form that he's been showing throughout his entire career. So I don't really think there's a rush for him to leave.
Listen, let me do the super chat, and then And then let Jerry, of course, respond. German Chicken Wing is saying, so City paid 50 million pounds for Haaland, but will sell him for 85 million pounds. Use your brain, Mo. I am using my brain. I'm using my brain to type on a keyboard and read the news, my friend. I'm literally just doing that. I'm not the one who's negotiating. So it's as simple as just go read the news. This is a release clause in the contract. If Haaland wants to go and Real Madrid trigger that release clause, he's gone. It's up to Man City to convince him to stay. It's not up to Man City. They have a release clause of, I think, 170 million pounds, but that's only inside England. So a lot of people say it's not real. Well, his agent said this, his agent said that. But go to Forbes, go to every single news outlet yesterday. They reported them. So we have to talk about this. As simple as that. Show us the contracts, then more. People say, well, see, you guys are like weird, to be honest. This is weird, bro. Like, this is so strange, bro. Like, why are you asking me to do that? Just talk to Forbes, talk to The Guardian, talk to The Athletic. Like, this is not Mo. I'm not the journalist who's like, yeah, I have the contract in my desk. But anyway, I'm just going to say one thing, actually, and I'm going to let Jerry respond. I actually think that Man City, as at the moment, is a more attractive club than Real Madrid, apart from the weather. And I said that many times. And I know it sounds crazy, but I actually think who's guaranteed more success now? Who's more stable now? Real Madrid, until a couple of months ago, they didn't know who's going to be the coach until they renewed Ancelotti. Well, you have a big structure at Man City. They are still rebuilding the areas around it. The coach is there, Pep Guardiola, one of the best coaches around in the world to develop under. And as Gooni said, 22, 23, you're guaranteed success. Now, the PR for the Premier League is mad now, so it's absolutely fantastic to be there. He's in every single cover, right? When he scores a goal or breaks a record or something. And my opinion, Man City now are more, at the moment, apart from the history and the weather, Man City as a club are more attractive than Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, man. The first thing I want to kind of address is 85 million release clause. If that's inserted, then City would have had to agree to it. Suggests to me that Haaland's already had his eyes set on moving after potentially winning the Champions League, as some people wanted to say, that's the reason why they needed Haaland. I mean, they were winning everything else. They were just struggling to get over the line. And Haaland was that, you could argue, was the catalyst that enabled them to do that. 85 million pounds, an 85 million pound release clause is very achievable for all of the top teams. That suggests to me that Haaland's already has his eyes set on Real Madrid. And look, to a certain extent, I agree with you, Mo. I think when you look at the structure of the club, and you look at how City are run, they've got, in my opinion, the best manager in world football, in Pep Guardiola. Obviously, the structure is immense. They're guaranteed to win. Do you know what I mean? Like they're more or less the club that's guaranteed to win something every season, even if it was to just be an FA Cup as an example. But maybe Haaland wants to be the guy that gets Real Madrid back and installs that dominance, in Europe for them, which obviously they've had, but especially in the league. Maybe he's going to be the one that's going to turn the eyes over to get, obviously, everyone looking at La Liga again. If you think about Haaland going to Real Madrid, the eyes are going to be on Real Madrid yet again. So it's an interesting one. The fact, for me, that 85, that figure is so easily achievable for Real Madrid. For Atletico Madrid could do something even to sign him. It just suggests to me that he's always had his eyes set on, I'm going to do my job here. As Gooni said, smash everything that there is to go and do, break the record, win everything there is to win in England. What else is there for me to stay? Do I care about being this Premier League legend, or can I just leave after, the end of this season, win a couple of things and become a world legend at a club that's obviously got that status? Now, if he goes and helps them win the Liga and win multiple Champions Leagues, that's more of an impact on world football than him, winning Premier Leagues and a couple more Champions Leagues with Man City, in my opinion. So interesting, man. Interesting. Whether there's any, obviously, truth to it, we'll have to wait and see. But it's obviously very interesting news there, man.
Listen, German Chicken Wing again. Oh, you're pissed, bro. You're pissed. 85 million pounds. If you believe that, then good luck. I don't understand why you can't believe that there are some players with release with release clauses inside their contracts. I just don't get it. Why is that so hard for people to believe? I don't get it. There are contracts. The Real Madrid were interested in him. He went to Man City. It's as simple as that. But I'm going to ask Gooni a question. Do Man City actually need Haaland? If Haaland leaves tomorrow.
Any team in the world.
Yeah.
Any and every team in the world need Erling Haaland. That's just the matter with the fact. He's in that bracket where, like, you know, if I kind of liken it to a situation where, like, you know, I know it's not the same, but let's say you've already got a team and Haaland's not in it, and you've already got your strikers or whatever. He's that type of player you sign whether you need him or not. That's just the category that he's in. He's just an absolutely elite player. And to lose a player like that, regardless of whether you're Manchester City, Real Madrid, you know, Barcelona involved or whatever, it is definitely going to hurt you. So absolutely they need Erling Haaland, because Manchester City and Real Madrid and these kind of teams, they've got the ambitions to be elite clubs. And if you want to be an elite club, you need to keep the most elite players in the world. So 100%. And on top of that, who is going to replace the goals that Erling Haaland has scored at Manchester City? There's basically nobody in the world outside of arguably maybe Kylian Mbappe or Harry Kane, that's going to replace that level of goals. But is Harry Kane available? Highly doubt that Bayern Munich could even think about letting him go now. First season and he's absolutely smashing it over there. Kylian Mbappe, that might be a different story if Manchester City do decide to join. But we've known for years, even since he joined PSG, that Real Madrid has been the destination that he's dreamed of. So for me, it would definitely weaken Manchester City based on the fact that you are not going to find a striker outside of those three that could potentially replace the amount of goals and what Haaland brings to the team.
Listen, in my opinion, I don't think that Man City will suffer a lot without Haaland. They did it without an out-and-out striker. They won the treble already. I think they have a system that will win them the league, and they will be favorites to win the league, in my opinion. I don't think if Haaland leaves, things will change that much, in my opinion. Listen, they have the best coach in the world. Like, they will mold Alvarez to score 20 goals. They will have modern scoring. I know that he offers something else. I know that Haaland offers something else, but again, Pep Guardiola played all his career without an out-and-out number 9. The out-and-out number 9 got them the Champions League. Probably got them. They already won the treble.
Yeah, I know, but that's if there's anything else that City can do to kind of build their history and kind of get on par and be that elite team, as Gooni said, it's winning the Champions League. Like, they could not win the league this year, and they could probably win it next year, 100%. They've got a dominance over this league if you look historically in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
But you go and look at the Champions League, now that's why they signed Erling Haaland. That was the difference. They had a number 9 that got them those goals. And yeah, it might have not been, you know, like him performing to an elite level in the final and, I mean, smashing the goal that won them the league. Of course not. There was Rodri, there's other contributors. But he was a massive, massive part of what they've done. Now, removing a Haaland from there, we've seen they haven't won the Champions League without Haaland. So is that something that's attainable for Klopp at City? Did they need a Haaland to go and do it? I mean, that's the question. The league, yeah, that's fine. But is that where City are setting there? Is that where City have their eyes set on? I think they're looking at the Champions League more than the league now, if anything.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. German Chicken Wing is saying, I'm not pissed at all, but hate fake news. Well, you can say it's fake. The news outlets are saying they're not fake. Well, I'm not here to validate the news or not. There is an outlet that said it. But anyway, let's move on. I think before we go to Gallagher, this news about Trent Alexander-Arnold is massive. He's out for a few weeks. Knee injury, hyperextension or whatever, mild tear in the knee ligaments. How big of a deal is that for Liverpool's title charge or whatever? How big that, especially when Salah is out as well?
Look, title charge, if rumors are to believe, then they're saying 3 weeks to a month, then you're not missing too many Premier League games because of the period that we're in. So, yeah, I mean, he might be back for the Chelsea game. He might be back in February. That's fine. However, it's massive. That is still massive for Liverpool. Losing Trent, let's just be honest, he is the system. He is Liverpool's everything right now. He's asked to defend like a right back, create like a Pirlo from a deep line position, and also be the person to be assisting and at times score goals. If we're looking at in recent games, he's getting quite a lot of chances on goal as well, hitting the bar, missing, skying the bar over against Arsenal as well. So it's massive how Liverpool go and navigate that. That will determine what Liverpool can do this season for me, because I just don't know how this system changes. I don't know what Liverpool can do. We've got a lot of injuries right now. Our fullbacks still aren't back in the likes of Tsimikas and Robertson. It means we're having to go and play Connor Bradley at right back, who done okay at Arsenal, but he hasn't been tested. McAllister hasn't moved me like that. I don't know where our creativity is going to come from. So a lot of questions, man, a lot of questions. And look, I know we're talking about Klopp wanting Neto. I think we're going to have to go and sign someone else. I think we're going to have to go and sign someone else, because this is always the worry. We haven't got a backup for Trent. Trent gets injured.
You have Gomez, though. You have Gomez always.
But as soon as you get injuries to the two left backs that are out, we are now playing with fire, because Gomez is playing on the left. We've got Owen Beck that's come back, that's been recalled from loan, but again, an unknown entity. What level can he get to? Do you know what I mean? You're playing. It's risky. It's risky, and especially when you're in a position to win a title, and when City seem to do. I mean, not have their ish together yet. Arsenal in a lull. You got to be a bit proactive for me. So, but listen, we'll have to wait and see, man. But it's a massive loss.
People before going talk, people, guys, get us to 100 likes. There's 200 people here, so please hit that like button underneath the live chat. Hit that like button, people. Get us to 100 likes. The like button is the only way this channel is gonna grow. On the way to 10K, almost at 10K. I think 60 subs away from 10K. So hit that like button, people. Goni, Trent Alexander-Arnold, how pivotal he is to this Liverpool charge, and do you see them able to replace him?
Well, it's very similar to what I was saying about Erling Haaland. I personally believe that Trent Alexander-Arnold is an elite player. You know what I mean? In terms of in the right back positioning. Yes, some people might argue, he has some faults in terms of his defending ability, but what he contributes going forward on the pitch is invaluable. So for Liverpool to lose him, that would obviously be a massive, massive blow. But I've just looked at the next fixtures that Liverpool have, and the next game is Bournemouth away. The question is, can they manage without him against Bournemouth away in the Premier League? And I think so. I think they've got enough to be able to do that. Then after that, they've got Chelsea away. They've got us away. So they've got Chelsea at home. Sorry, so at Anfield. So based on how we've been playing, and based on where Liverpool are in the table, I'm sure they've got their ambitions to be winning the Premier League this season. I honestly think that these next 3 weeks without Trent is doable. But had it go on, if he's not available for Arsenal away, they might suffer there a little bit without him, without his creativity. But as long as he's back before the Arsenal game, I think Liverpool should be okay. But make no mistake about it, it's like I said, he's a top level player. He is massively part of the system of how Liverpool play, a very important cog in that system. So of course losing him would be a loss. You're talking about a key player in that Liverpool team. So yeah,
that's the worry for me, man. That's the worry is on paper, if he comes back in 3 weeks and they're being very kind of honest with the timeline, then it's cool. With knee ligament injuries though, if that goes into Arsenal any games after that, then you're in serious trouble. And I think Liverpool needs to be honest about the situation. And as I talk about being proactive again, if you think there's any doubt that, you know what, we're being really optimistic, but any little twinge and he's out for a bit longer, or we may have to have surgery because you just don't know with knee ligaments, you need to go and get a cover for that instant, like as soon as possible, because you don't do that. And like I said, we've seen it with Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? 1 week, you're top of the league. Do you know what I mean? A week later and you're fourth. Do you know what I mean? So worrying, man. Worrying.
I think it's worrying, but it also, I think Liverpool, you have enough of players now. You can play three in the back. That's tactically, I think you can play Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, and Konza in the back, and you can have a fully midfield of two with, I don't know, Szoboszlai or Endo if he comes back, and McAllister, of course, if Thiago's back, Curtis Jones and McAllister. I think Liverpool will be able to manage. Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp will be able to deal with it. The problem is going to be your forward line have to be firing. I'm not worried about your defense. Your forward line need to step up. The likes of Jota, Nunes, Diaz, they have to step up. because now the creativity from the deep part isn't coming through because Trent isn't there. Should you go and sign a right back? Well, depends, to be honest. Depends, to be honest. Are you going to go and sign a right back on loan, for example? Are you going to call I don't know who you have on loan out? But I'm not sure. Actually, Liverpool should go and sign a right back at the moment. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I think you'll be able to manage. I see what Gooni's saying. Maybe they'll struggle against Arsenal, but I see all your games until the end of January, they are winnable. They are all winnable without Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's how I see the situation. I know there's a lot of people that panic at Liverpool. Oh my God, he's out. Will you manage without Salah before? You manage without some games, couple of games without Van Dijk this season, and he still won them. Yeah, I think you'll be able to manage. I don't think it's not a big deal because he's not out for like 6-7 months. Just 3 weeks. You should be worried if he's out for a longer period of time, because when people go out for a longer period of time, I think it's worrying for clubs. So in my opinion, you will be able to manage at least for like some games. Like, you don't tell me that without Trent you cannot win against Bournemouth and Fulham. I think you should be better than that, to be honest, Liverpool. And I think Liverpool are better than this, in my opinion. You have an FA Cup in the middle. But we'll see if Trent doesn't play and you lose the game, you play tomorrow against Fulham. I think we'll see. You'll have no Salah, but you'll have Van Dijk back. Fulham aren't easy, but you're playing at home. You should smash them. That's what I think. And also, I think Robertson.
We're playing away. With Fulham, we're playing away.
I think tomorrow is at your home. That second game.
No, at Craven Cottage, I think. Are you sure?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I thought at Craven Cottage.
Tomorrow you play at home, and next Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays, I think you play away. That's what it says in front of me, actually. Guys, 240 people here. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. I think people say you lost all your creativity. I think this is what other people have to step up. Like, just this is what we say. Yes, Trent is a very pivotal player, but you have to step up. Like other players, like what is Jota, Diaz, Szoboszlai now have to step up. McAllister have to step up creativity, because McAllister is a very good creative player. So people don't realize this because he has been playing in a deeper role. But yeah, McAllister has to step up. He can dictate the game as well. He can distribute left and right. I think, yes, Trent is important, but come on. You have to. This is Liverpool, to be honest. You have you have Alisson, you have Van Dijk. Come on. You shouldn't be doing that. But listen, people. Before we move on, this Neto thing, it's a question. Do Liverpool actually need a winger? Because you're linked to Olise and now you're linked to Neto. Do you need a winger, though?
On paper, you would say no. Now, when you look at the amount of forwards we've got, you would say no. But then you dig a bit deeper, and there's been question marks surrounding, obviously, Diaz. I know he got the goal against Arsenal. But obviously, since that whole, like, his dad being kidnapped and the knee injury, he just hasn't been as good as he was when he first signed. You then look at, number 9 for us, who, for me, he's our Dirk Kuyt replacement now. I don't classify him as a forward. He's just, as a striker, he's just a forward that can play anywhere. He's not really going and getting goals. Harvey Elliott, can you trust him to be that guy? And then, of course, with Salah has no real replacement for him. I think the first time we've seen anyone bar Elliott go and play in the right wing position, it's been Diaz, which was against Arsenal in the second half. So it makes sense why people are looking at a winger, especially a winger, if you can go and help Liverpool go and get 10, 15 goals. I think you go and do that in all competitions. That's going to be a massive, massive boost for us, because we're in a similar situation to Arsenal in terms of we're creating chances, but our forwards just haven't been scoring unless it's been Salah. And Salah's been obviously our saving grace in that regard. So do we desperately need one? I wouldn't say yes. I think there's other areas of the pitch I'd want to address first, but I wouldn't be mad if Liverpool went and got a winger, especially one to play on that right-hand side and give Salah some competition. I think will be good.
I actually think you need a striker, actually an out-and-out striker.
Is
100%.
It? I mean, I agree as well. I think, yeah, number 9 for me is just,
unless you're going to put
away,
a number 9, you're creating the chances here. You're creating the chances. You really need a number 9. And this Neto thing is, yes, you want to replace Salah long term. You might sign Olise, but this can wait. You aren't putting the ball in the back of the net enough. You're creating abundance of chances, and you're not scoring goals enough. So I think just forget this winger thing. Just go get a striker. Go get an out and out number 9. I don't know who though, because there's not a lot of them out there. But maybe you need a striker, unless Nunes steps up, which is I'm not sure if he's gonna
Unlikely,
do that.
man. Unlikely. Let's just be honest, man.
Yeah. Conor Gallagher. Chelsea wants to sell him though. I think it's mad though, because he's been one of your best midfielders though.
I was gonna say the same thing.
It's not.
The same thing.
It's not, because you got to contextualize things. If he was the best midfielder in a team where we had some world beaters in around the squad, it's a different conversation. But then when you look at the squad as a whole and you look at what's around him, it's not really the best Chelsea that you've seen for a while. In fact, it's very far off. So for me, we're talking about the best of a bad bunch. Conor Gallagher, for me, long term, and remember, I'm speaking long term. I'm not knocking what he's done this season, because fair play to him, he's done well. But for me, I look at it 5-6 seasons down the line. Is this guy the kind of midfielder that is going to be able to contribute to Premier League challenges, to Champions League challenges, FA Cups, all of that stuff? Because me personally, I want to win, and I want to be in a conversation for every single cup that is out there. Why? I'm a bit spoiled, but this is what I've been used to over the past 20 or so years, and I don't want that to stop. Conor Gallagher, for me, is not of that standard. I'm sorry. So I've had this thing, even in the summer, I wanted Gallagher gone. Now that he's playing well, I'm using a stock market analogy. Sell while high. Sell while stocks are high, because this might be the only opportunity to get as much as we can for Conor Gallagher. Now, for me, again, goes back to the expectations of Chelsea Football Club. If there are 5 or 6, whatever you want to call Conor Gallagher, number 10, number 8, whatever you want to call him, if there are 5 or 6 better players that are out there than him, why is Conor Gallagher at my club? And I truly believe that there is, 100%. What are Conor Gallagher's exceptional? Tell me, what's Conor Gallagher's exceptional footballing abilities on the ball? Can anybody tell me?
Yeah, but football doesn't work like this.
Yes, it does. For me, well, it depends on how you like.
No. You just said if there is 5-6 people out there. So you think Chelsea should just go sign Mbappe, they trigger Haaland clause from Man City, and they go get Harry Kane? Is that how Chelsea fans?
You're going, but now you're going out of the realm of realism now, because
exactly I am.
Because we're not going to sign Erling Haaland. That's just not going to happen. And on top of that, Manchester City are not going to sell Erling Haaland to another club in the same league where he's where they're playing. That would just be madness. In terms of Mbappe now, like you already know, his mind is pretty much already made up that he's going to Madrid. If that wasn't the case, I would say, well, why not? He fits the quote unquote model. He's an elite young player. These are the kind of player that they want at Chelsea Football Club. So for me, absolutely, I'm getting rid of Conor Gallagher and I'm looking at a better standard of player. If you consider Conor Gallagher as a number 10, apparently Musiala's not signed his contract. He's a Chelsea academy boy. I would be setting my ambition to go for a player like that. Are you two really telling me that Conor Gallagher is better than Jamal Musiala?
Why would Musiala join Chelsea at the moment? If you're
I'm just saying that if he's
I'm being realistic with you as well, Gooni.
I am as well.
You literally said to be realistic. Why would, if your coach is out there saying that Chelsea need to accept where they are now until you go back, why would Musiala leave a Champions League contending club and probably a German winner to come to Chelsea, unless you're going to tell me it's for the money?
Okay, then I'll throw a question to you.
Yes.
Why would Victor Osimhen, right, who's got the ability to go to the top clubs in the world, still want to come and play for Chelsea? Why would N'Golo Kante, when we finished 10th, come and sign for Chelsea for £32 million? Why would Paul Pogba go to Manchester United when they finished 6th in the Premier League? You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you've got to be able to have, number one, obviously the finances matter to be able to attract these players. But number two, if you have the ambition and you've got a realistic quote unquote project that you can sell to these players, and you can say, listen, Jamal, your contract is you've not signed your contract at Bayern Munich. We're in the Premier League. We've got ambitions to sign some of the best youngsters in the world. We're trying to bring in Victor Osimhen. We're trying to bring in this player X, Y, and Z. Our ambition is to be challenging for Premier League titles. I don't see why he wouldn't come to the club, unless a Real Madrid come in and say, like, listen, We want you at our club. You're going to be starting week in, week out. Then it's collapsed. Then it's done. You're not signing that player, regardless of who you are. But I don't see why we can't do it. As long as the ambition matches, the player, and obviously you can afford to bring the player, then I don't see why it couldn't happen. But listen, Jamal Musiala, like, he's a bit of an extreme example, of course. But then you've got other players like Florian Wirtz. Again, if you consider Conor Gallagher as a number 10, are you telling me that he's better than Wirtz? No. If you're considering him to be a pivot partner to an Enzo Fernandez or to a Caicedo, is he better than Nicola Barella? I know he's one of your players, but I bring him up because I know Inter Milan are currently going through some financial issues, and apparently, from what I hear, they do need to sell 1 or 2 players. Is Conor Gallagher a better standard than Barella? Absolutely not. So based on that, I would prefer a player like that to be coming at Chelsea and for Conor Gallagher to go out of the door. And on top of that, he's a Cobham boy, so it makes it pure profit, which works in our favour in terms of FFP.
Can I ask you something before Jerry comes in? Based on this season, who has been better, Conor Gallagher or Enzo Fernandez?
Based on this season?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Gallagher's been outperforming Enzo Fernandez 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So Conor Gallagher has played half a season under Pochettino. Enzo Fernandez has played 1 complete season now at Chelsea, half a season under whatever management you have, Poch, then Lampard or whatever. So I'm not going to count that. But looking at the project at the moment, isn't the proof now that maybe Conor Gallagher is better than Enzo Fernandez? Or are we getting by names now? Are we just because Enzo played for Argentina, who won the World Cup, and Enzo played for Benfica, if I'm not mistaken? But looking at the pitch at the moment, based on the 20 games you played in your project with the players you have, why are you looking to sell Conor Gallagher? Because he's not good on the eye, but Enzo Fernandez hasn't been performing. So why not Enzo Fernandez? Because you think Enzo Fernandez has more future than Conor Gallagher? So that's based on what?
Well, it's a very good question, but this is what I'll also say. You've now got to bring the manager into this conversation, and you've got to look at how both players have been used. Enzo Fernandez hasn't consistently been used in his natural position. We sometimes, or a lot of the time this season, we've been seeing him being used as a number 10. That is not what Enzo Fernandez is. We've been seeing Conor Gallagher being used in a pivot, and we've sometimes been seeing him used as a number 10. We've sometimes been seeing him being used out wide. So it also comes down to the manager. Consistency is important to players if they want to get used to their role and they want to adapt to a league that they're very much new to. Now, when I look at long term and I look at the skill set of both players, Enzo Fernandez for me is more of the technical player, 100%. I think Enzo Fernandez's range of passing is a lot better than Conor Gallagher's. These are qualities on the ball that I can definitely say that he has. Has he been performing like it at the moment? I'll be the first person to tell you. Enzo has massively been underperforming. And I think I've even been on here in the past and I've criticized Enzo Fernandez, 100%. But I do think that we can get a tune out of Enzo because I've seen Enzo perform at his best. Granted, it's been outside of Chelsea, it's been for his international club, and it's also been for Benfica. Now, when I tell you that I watched him at Benfica, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 games that I've watched him. I watched him for several games because I like to, before I speak on a player, I like to actually watch so I can make an honest and fair judgment on that player. And for me, the skill set between Enzo and Conor Gallagher is absolute night and day. It's just that if we're to go and sell Enzo Fernandez now, who we just signed this time last year, for a massive price tag of £105 million. One, financially, we are not getting anywhere near the price tag that we bought him for. And number 2, I think it would still be a bit too soon to sell him. I do believe that he's got a lot to contribute to the club. Conor Gallagher, I think for me, he's going to hit a certain ceiling and he's not going to get beyond that to the level that we need to be competing on all fronts. And that's my issue. I look long term as well as the short term. Yeah, he's doing great, but long term, I want us to be in the conversation for every trophy that there is. And I don't think Conor Gallagher is the player that you build around or you even have in the squad that's going to help us reach those peaks. Absolutely not.
Jerry, you want to chime in before I actually challenge what he's saying?
Yeah. Look, I hear what Gooney's saying in terms of obviously Gallagher and the technical side of it. What I would argue though is, if this is something that you're discussing in the summer, I hear it. To do that in January, where, you know, the project is still brewing, in my opinion, it's not obviously hit its ceiling. I don't think anyone would say that. You're now risking buying a player and bringing a player in that could potentially perform like an Enzo. It's a very risky judge. It's a risky bit of business when you're looking at the current manager that you've got in now that clearly prefers a certain player, and that the player's performing to what, a 7 out of 10 level every single most games, if we're being honest. Like, that's the type of player he is. I think for the squad, he's someone that you can definitely keep in there. If you were buying a player to go and be like, all right, cool, you're going to be our main guy, but we still got a Gallagher in the squad, I completely hear it. But to sacrifice arguably your best midfielder this season, if not your best player, and then bring in a player and hope that he can perform to that level, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea go and fall down the wayside. And if you've got another player performing like an Enzo, even if technically he's the better player, has got the better range of passing, can drop in the pockets a bit better, and is a bit nicer on the eye. And even if he is a bigger signing, I think that's a very, very risky, considering Chelsea aren't in a great position to kind of do that right now. If they were, you know, in and around the fourth spot, third spot, and they're like, all right, we're not going to win the league, but we're building something anyway, and Gallagher weren't getting minutes, I'd hear it. But when you've got your main midfielder that's performing to a certain level, I don't think you can just X him out. I'll compare it to like the Henderson situation at Liverpool. If you've got a player there performing at 7 out of 10 every single game consistently, after a while, you've got to look at that player and be like, oh, you know what? He's a good player for us. Yeah, he might not be the nicest on the eye, but he does the intangibles that we might not see on an everyday basis. But when you scratch a bit deeper on the surface, you're looking, you're like, oh, he's allowing X player to play better, and he's allowing X player to play better. And I just think doing this business in January just sums up what this Chelsea project's been. Like, it's not really thought out. I think in more so, and I think someone in the comments said, it just, for me, it makes more logical sense that they've decided to go and do that because of FFP more so than what's going on the pitch. I don't think it's a situation where they're looking at Gallagher saying, you're not good enough to be part of Chelsea at all, we need to get rid of you, and it's helping FFP. I think it's more so FFP is killing us right now, and we need to just do this, and we don't think we're gonna get anywhere near the top 4 spots, let alone anywhere in Europe. So let's just sack this season off again, bring someone in and hope that, you know, he can perform to a better level than some of our midfielders that we've signed currently, likes of Caicedo, Lavia, who obviously hasn't had a lot of games, and if a game, if I'm correct, and obviously Enzo as well. So, but yeah, that's.
I agree with you. I agree with you on one thing, and that's if we can avoid selling him in January, I would do that. I would just finish the season with Gallagher and look at this situation again in the summer, 100%.
In my opinion, I'm not sure Chelsea. Listen, Conor Gallagher is what Chelsea are now. This is it. Like, just people have to accept that until you actually break this cycle. Like, someone in the chat said the 10th season was a blip. Bro, you are 10th now. You need to improve. Instead of keep saying it's a blip, Chelsea need to improve. And I've been defending the style of play for Pochettino, but I said he makes a lot of mistakes, right, in terms of personnel. Like, the guy would get the plan right, but then he would play the wrong player in the wrong place.
Facts.
So the player would get to the right position to cross, but it's not the right player to cross. It's just supposed to be someone else. The number 10 would get in the right places between the line, but it's the wrong player on the ball in that place. So they don't know what to do. But at the end, you are 10th. I'm not sure how Chelsea fans still think that they can. If game week 30 is here and you are 9th, how can you go and you finish the season at 9th? How can you go and convince? I know that you're talking about N'Golo Kante and you're talking about this and that, but at that time he was at Leicester City. You're going to, if you want to attract the top players from the top clubs, which is at Leicester at that time, with all due respect, wasn't the top club. Yes, they won the league, but again, it's Leicester City, right? You want to attract the Musialas, you want to attract the players from Porto, you want to attract the players from other teams. How can Chelsea go to a player and tell them, yes, we think the project is going to work, if it's not working at the moment? You have Enzo Fernandez, you have Caicedo, you have Cole Palmer. Individually, they might be performing, right? But the whole project, from looking from outside, I'm going to ask you genuinely, Goonie, genuinely, remove your Chelsea hat and look from outside. If you are advising someone now, would you tell them this project is working or it's failing?
Well, the proof's in the pudding that it's definitely not working. But at the same time, should we just lie down and accept that it's not working and continue to accept that we're just going to finish 10th for the rest of our time in the Premier League or perhaps get relegated?
I'm not saying
Absolutely not. So for me, it's about taking measures to ensure and make sure that you do not finish in the positions that we're in, and you do whatever it is that you can to improve. And one thing that we do have, again, it's not the be all and end all, but one thing that we do have that can work to our advantage is the financial aspect of things. We do still have assets that we can sell that can bring in pure profit, i.e. the Cobham boys. Not only Conor Gallagher potentially is going for a decent price, also Ian Matson's going to go for a decent price. We've got other youngsters that are coming up that we can also get rid of. So basically, we can live off the name of Cobham to get rid of those to improve the first team. Something that we should have done at the beginning when Todd Bowley and these guys came to the club. Address the first team first, abandon this whole youth thing, entire squad of youth, and just sign players that have played at the highest level. It's not too late to do that. Absolutely not. If you look and you're wise in the transfer market, you can do these things. Like I said to you, for me, if we got rid of Conor Gallagher in the summer and I get a whiff that Barella's available, I'm saying, listen, go and get Barella. Listen, there's more than one at your club that I would take. DeMarco as well.
Come to my channel and keep telling Barella, give me Barella. Come on, yeah.
But listen, I love Barella. I love Nico Barella. And I think that would be a massive, massive upgrade on our midfield. 100%. Another player at your club that I like. Sorry to do this to you, Mo, but I've just got to be honest, bruv. I love DeMarco as well as a left back.
Barella wouldn't go to Chelsea at the current moment. He's Champions League. He's going to win the league with the Inter. He won't go to Chelsea at the moment, even with money. That is what something that needs to understand.
But your club is not in a financial position to keep these guys. So I hear you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. Please, if I'm wrong, please correct me. 100%.
But unless you get like a massive offer, like £100 million or something, yes, he might go. I'm just being honest here. But what I want to tell like Chelsea, like the only thing that goes for you now is the money. And we said that it's the only thing, like you have to, it's the only thing that's going for you now. This notion of Caicedo chose Chelsea because of the project. Well, maybe, right? But to be honest, when you're offering 8 years contract, I think the project is out of the window. Yeah, project. It's just a lot of money. But again, financial fair play is now, okay, so Chelsea were able to do that. But Chelsea and Gooney can tell you that the financial fair play are knocking on the door. The UEFA are knocking on the door. The Premier League are knocking on the door for Chelsea and Arsenal. The reports are there. They might have to sell Gallagher. I won't be able to even sign anyone.
Not necessarily. That's very much
that's what the report. I actually read the report this morning and I bookmarked it to read the whole article.
Did you also see that Todd Bowley injected another 140 million to Chelsea as well? That weekend that's been made of that. But through buying more shares at Chelsea Football Club.
So he sold more. He sold shares.
He bought more.
He bought more. So he's got more shares. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you look at Chelsea as well, I think considering that you're 10th, and if you, finish around the same position again, it's not good enough for Chelsea. I think sometimes you need to have that level of player that offers more than just ability. You need a core of players that are just gonna that whole kind of die for the shirt type of mentality.
Bro, where he works hard. Jerry,
you do need experience. But when you go and look at teams that have gone and they're in that position and they've come up, they haven't just gone and signed pure bad boys and just said, yeah, we're gonna run it back. Teams that do that often don't work. You go and look at Aston Villa, look at the core of their team. It's the likes of McGinn. Do you know what I mean? It's the likes of it's that type of player that goes and you're like, all right, cool. We're not going to build this team around but you're in this team to help us elevate.
Hold on.
Yeah.
McGinn is better than all of the midfielders on the ball.
But you know
what? Better than all of the midfielders on the ball at the moment.
What midfielders?
All of them.
All of Chelsea's midfielders, you're saying?
Lavia, Gallagher, Enzo, Caicedo on the ball now.
Well, now put it this way: if there was form, we weren't talking about form. And we had a 5-a-side session in goals today. I'm telling you now, McGinn is not better than some of these brothers on the ball. He's just 100%. Not. But McGinn,
only Palmer on the ball is better than him this season.
But McGinn. But this is my point: is that McGinn, when 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people weren't talking about McGinn the way they're talking about him now. He's part of a team that's doing really well. And what I'm trying to say is, sometimes you need that Gallagher type of player that If you go ask Aston Villa fans at the time, they're like, "Oh, we want someone else." Now McGinn's playing well, but he's around other players. But they had to get to that level. Now Chelsea might need to keep hold of a Gallagher for now until they get to fourth, third on a consistent basis. Then you can start looking around and be like, actually, we don't need you because the structure and the spine of our team is a bit better. When you look at Chelsea now, it's a bit much of nothing. That's why the reason why Gallagher's the skipper is because he looks around. He's like, who really wants it like that? And you could argue Enzo don't really want it like that. Lavia's not playing. Caicedo's new. You got Thiago Silva in there, but you don't know when his legs are just gonna go one day, and he won't be as good enough. The keeper situation up front, they ain't got a leader. You need someone in that spine. Now, the only thing I've got about Gallagher is you get rid of him in January, taking out the best midfielder right now because he's a massive part of the spine. Who do you replace him with? Unless you can go and get someone that's going to go and just hit the ground running and be that superstar midfield for you, you might be in a situation when you're left with another Enzo that's quality on the ball, but isn't as consistent, and then you're sliding down the table even further. And that's the worry if I was a Chelsea fan. But hey,
I'm looking at this Gallagher situation. I'm like, if you're gonna sell him for financial fair play, fair enough. But if you're gonna sell him because you don't think he's good now, I think he has to end the season. He's used. You're not guaranteed that anybody will come in and perform like Gallagher this season. You aren't. Nobody's guaranteeing that anybody will perform like Gallagher at the end of the season. Like towards the end of the season, like he is putting his heart out on the pitch. Yes, he's making a mistake. He isn't the most pleasing guy on the eye, right? He isn't. He doesn't know how to pass between the lines. He doesn't know how to shoot. All he does is interceptions.
High up, exactly. Presses high up the pitch.
Tackles, running around sometimes. Well,
but it's a mad situation, though, isn't it? Because
but
when
Jordan
Gallagher was at
Henderson
West
was
Brom,
kind of the same.
But when he was at West Brom and when he was at Palace, people are rating what he was doing. So again, maybe we look at the manager and we're saying the manager's asking him to do a role that, again, is that his best role. We saw what he was at Crystal Palace, and do you know what I mean? Chelsea fans wanted him back. I know certain Liverpool fans wanted him. United were talking about getting that type of player. They were comparing him to Lampard, and people get overexcited. That's what he was doing at Palace. But now, all of a sudden, he's a poor player. He weren't a poor player at West Brom. He went poor at Palace. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think that narratives are interesting, man.
Almost 300 people here, so hit that like button. So last point about Chelsea before moving on. Would you take Jordan Henderson at your club?
Nope.
Just for experience.
Nope.
Goody, he's available, bro.
Nope.
You might need a double pivot of him and Gallagher. That's nasty in that midfield.
Nope. I would not do that.
Why? As an experienced player, come on.
If we're talking about experience, there are other experienced players out there that I'd rather go for who are not playing as much football as they want to play, bro. I'm not
Prem
going
winner, Champions League winner.
Whoa.
Go and get, if we're talking,
you're missing out, bro. You're missing out.
Luka Modric. Go and get me Luka Modric. Go and get me Luka all day.
That's Modric.
Why would Modric
over
leave Real Madrid? Again, Guni, why would Modric leave Real Madrid in January to go to Chelsea? Like, what is going? How are you? Unless you're going to give him a 4-year contract.
Okay, sign no one. Sign no one.
39, bro. He's 39.
I don't care. A 39-year-old Modric is 10 times better than Henderson has ever been in his career. Let's have it right. But
yeah,
if the discussion is Henderson, sign nobody. I don't want to see nobody come through the door. I do not want that guy.
Do you know how I see it happening? I see you selling Gona Gallagher for financial fair play, signing him on loan for 6 months.
That's the one.
For 6 months. And then this is your experience. So he takes the hands of the Caicedos, the Enzos, and the Lavias, the Palmers. And I actually think it's a sensible move. He doesn't have to play, though.
No.
Premier League winner, Champions League winner.
From Goonie there. That pause from
He's
Goonie.
thinking about it, bro.
He knows it's real. He knows it's real. It's a possibility. That's why.
No. I wouldn't accept it. Do you know? I swear on everything. If that move ever happened, I would go on social media night and day. I will fly from New York, where I am, to London, even if I have to stand outside the Stamford Bridge by myself with a picket sign. I am protesting, bro. At that point, enough will be enough. I'm not having this guy at my club. Absolutely not. No.
Why not? You have you had what's his name, Thiago Silva, come in at the age of 36.
That's Thiago Silva, though, bro. Come on, we can't have this. They shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence, fam.
Okay, hold on.
Thiago Silva's been elite his entire career, pretty much.
Okay, hold on. What? Actually, to be honest, both of them have the same. Actually, Henderson had a better career, if I'm not mistaken. Champions League with Liverpool.
You're bad for
captain
my blood
Liverpool.
pressure, Mo.
Yeah,
I like my life. I have children that I
Okay.
must live for. So this needs to stop. My blood pressure needs to remain at a respectable level. Please stop doing this to me.
Okay, hold on. You really think that Thiago Silva, when he came to you, was a better player than Jordan Henderson?
Absolutely. But it's apples and oranges though, man. You're comparing a midfielder to a centre back.
All right, so now we're talking. See, but before you were like blood boiling. Don't compare Thiago. The guy won Serie A, went to Paris Saint-Germain, built his career in Paris Saint-Germain when they were winning the league every year, failed with Brazil, didn't win the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain, even though they had the best players. Jordan Henderson captained Liverpool for their first league title in 30 years, 3 Champions League finals, winning one, maybe winning the other one if it wasn't for Salah's injury. What are we talking about here?
But
Jordan Henderson was for Liverpool an elite captain. Thiago Silva, before coming to Chelsea, was a good player because he built his career in Paris Saint-Germain. You're telling me he was elite? By the way, I'm comparing both before going to Chelsea, not after Thiago Silva won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm
you
looking at both of them before going to Chelsea. You're being unfair about Jordan Henderson, but because Thiago Silva is your player and he won the Champions League with you, you want to favor him. But
No,
look
not
at the both careers. Look
Mm-mm.
at both careers. Jordan Henderson at Liverpool was the coverage for Trent, helping Mohamed Salah, the captain, the engine, and he was irreplaceable at them. Look at the quad season. Look at before. People just don't want to say that because he had a stinker of a season last season. But before that, he was a pivotal for them. And you might need the experience there.
But Mo, but to be fair, right? You can be an elite player and still not have the trophy haul for several other reasons. Like, for example, I'm going to bring up Steven Gerrard. Yes, he won the Champions
I
League.
knew this
No,
was coming.
I'm just saying. No, but I'm being honest. Yes, he won the
Nah.
Champions League with Liverpool. But let's all be honest. This man was one of the elitist players that you could get at the time, 100%. So that's not taken away from him. Now, Thiago Silva, for me as well, I've been watching this guy since he was at AC Milan. And he's always been that guy for me. Now, the move to PSG for me, it was a little questionable, and I was a little disappointed, as well as Marquinhos going from Roma to PSG, but that's another story. But I can't take away from his ability and his talent. I'm sorry. That's what separates him from Jordan Henderson. Now, listen, Jordan Henderson, I won't say that he's the bottom of the barrel player. Absolutely not. He wasn't an absolute crap player. He wasn't. Because, he's got great leadership qualities. You need to have leadership qualities to win it all with a club. And he was the captain to do all of those things. So, yes, there are aspects about him that could benefit Chelsea Football Club. But when we're actually talking the playing side of the game, I don't want him at the club. I don't think he'll contribute as much as what we currently need in terms of that. In terms of the current ability of the player. And it also doesn't help the fact that he's been over at Saudi Arabia for how long he's been there for. Let's be honest, bruv.
He ain't been there for that long, though. He's been there for a couple months, man. It was a little holiday. It was a long stint or a holiday. I think same time Tony's been out.
Listen, I'm not having it. I'm just not having it, bro.
Think about it. Well, hold on. Would you prefer Henderson or Gallagher? That's the question. Would you prefer Henderson or Gallagher? Because essentially,
I'd rather keep Connor. I'll be real with you. If we was to get rid of Gallagher in the aim of bringing in Henderson, for me, it would be a pointless move. I wouldn't understand it. Honestly, I just wouldn't get it. It wouldn't be the one for me. If you're talking experience, right? I need experience that can still do things like dictate play on the pitch, especially from the midfield position, which is why the first name that I brought up was a Luka Modric.
Do you need that from every midfielder, though? You see, if you're playing with a 3, like stereotype, like just traditionally, right now, do you need that from every single midfielder?
No, but pertaining to Chelsea's situation now, who do we have that does that on a consistent basis week in, week out? We don't have anyone that does that.
It should be Enzo, innit? It should be Enzo.
He's not cutting it right now. Honestly, real talk, he's not cutting it right now. But at the same time, where I will defend Enzo as well is you also have to bring the striker factor into it, because I've seen this guy put opportunities on the plate. Then you've got bums like Jackson and Breuer that have to that fluff the chances.
Yeah.
like time and time again. So we do have to look at that as well, that aspect of things.
Yeah, listen. So last part of this, we just get 10 minutes left, 5 minutes. Arsenal with Onana situation. This is nuts, bro, because they need a forward and they're going linked to a 50 million pound player from Everton who plays in the same position as Declan Rice and Thomas Partey. And I'm not sure why is this. And he spotted yesterday at London, though. It's mad, in my opinion, that if they're linked to this guy, that means they really don't know what they want. They need a forward. Let me just get this super chat out the way. Thank you so much for the super chat. Off topic, Gabon national team player Yellow Kanka Kono will meet the what?
Oh my days.
I'm not
That's
sure.
See that
crazy. So he's
story?
been playing for time. So he's been playing for time. It's 1990.
I actually don't know the story. Someone can tell me the story. Does anybody know the story?
No, I'm reading it, innit? Kaku, Gabonese international.
Need the captain
been playing
to
football.
explain why his mother
He's
died.
been playing football, been selected to play for obviously Gabon in the AFCON, and they've clocked on and said, hold on, your mum died in 1986, but you were born in 1990. Why go on for that?
Oh
Simple.
my God. I didn't read
Listen,
it.
it happens, man. What can I say? It happens back home, man. What can I say?
Trust me.
Yeah, come on, people. You know it happens a lot of times. So someone says sounds like he lied about his age. No wonder. Yeah, surprise, surprise. But thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate the super chat. It happens like the Lazio player that they discovered he was 35 and he was introduced as a 19 years old.
I remember.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
You remember that guy?
Yeah.
35 and he's introduced like a 19 years old.
Mo, they've got a striker though.
Who?
Pertaining to Arsenal, when we're talking about Arsenal, they've got a striker, innit? They've got Havertz.
Oh, come on,
He's a striker now. He's a striker now.
The guy.
No, he's a striker now. He's a striker. This is what I'm hearing. He's a striker. They've got three
I
strikers
don't
now.
want
They've got
you to
Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah. Unless one of them go, why are you going to bring in another striker?
Can we stop? Okay, so I want your opinion for real.
This is my full honest opinion.
Forget what Arsenal fans think. I want your opinion, Jerry.
My opinion is Arteta's decided that Havertz doesn't really work in the 8. He needs another 8 because he either wants to play Onana as that advanced 8, which I think suits him, but I don't think he's as good as a deep line midfielder. I think he wants Havertz in the 6. I don't think Partey is ever going to play for Arsenal again. If he does, it will be good for them, but look, they've got another option there. And I think Havertz is their other striker. I think, as Arteta alluded to in his post-match, he was like, look, Havertz starts ahead of Eddie Nketiah because, you know, he presses well, innit? He presses well from the front. He does what he needs to do. He does more than Eddie Nketiah does. So they've got a striker. Well,
I'm not seeing it as it is. This is a joke, of course. Havertz should be a striker and can be a striker. You're joking. I know you are.
Where did he play for Chelsea?
I know.
Cooney, where was Havertz playing for you guys?
Okay, I know you're mocking
As our striker, or some will say false 9, but he was our striker.
But he was there forward.
Are they okay? So can I ask you guys for real? Are they turning into like a banter club? That's it. Like
Turning. It's been like that for like 20 years and counting, bro. That's the thing. Just because, listen, one good season...
I want seriously.
No, I'm being serious. What have they done? What major trophy have they won in the past 20 years? And why did their fan base talk like they're the most elite club in the world? This is what makes them the banter club. Arsenal fans don't understand. It's the rhetoric that their fan base have and how they move, and compared to what they've won in the past 2 decades.
Booney, you're sitting 10th and you just asked for Musiala to join your club.
No, listen, but that's still doable. This is the thing.
You literally just did this. You literally
that's doable. Okay, we've been poor for 2 seasons. All right, cool.
All
2
right.
seasons. Arsenal have not won a major trophy, a Premier League or a Champions League. If you want to count FA Cup, fine, cool. I can take that. But
no, I don't.
Two main trophies.
I don't count cups.
The 2 main trophies that everybody wants to win, right? That players dream to join clubs to be winning. They haven't done it in the past 20 years. As bad as we are now, at least we can say in the past 5-10 years, we've actually got a major trophy that we've been able to bring to the club. At least we can say that. Right now, we're an absolute joke of a club in pertaining to last season and this season, 100%. But however, Arsenal fans, this is the issue with them. This is why they get laughed at. They'll talk like they're amongst the Real Madrids and all that, going on about how their players are making up combined 11s, and 8 of the players are Arsenal players and 3 of the players are Real Madrid players. This is the thing, though. This is the issue that they've got. But Arsenal need to understand, until you start winning things, until you go on a winning streak where you're winning trophies after trophies, you ain't got the right to have them conversations right now. You just don't.
I hear it. Look, Mo, I get it. Listen, on paper, they should be doing everything they can to sign Tony, Osimhen, whatever striker in it, because they need a striker. That's what we think. If Arteta looks at it and says, look, Eddie Nketiah staying at Arsenal, which he might do. We've got Gabriel Jesus, who's the man he signed to the club, so it's his striker. Him signing another striker will be telling the world that my signing wasn't good enough. I flopped with my signing. I don't think he thinks that. I think he's hoping Saka and Martinelli start scoring goals. Even when they're asking him about a striker, he's saying we're doing everything, we're playing well, but we're just not scoring. It's just a mentality issue. He's going to try and sort the mentality situation out of it.
Jerry's mocking you, man, are banter. Stop this 20 years. But it's 20 years. But again, you reach the Champions League and all this stuff. But anyway, listen, I'm not sure why Arsenal are going for Onana. I think you should go for a striker, even for someone that is even, it doesn't have to be Ivan Toney. Like, that's a problem. Like, people think that it has to be Ivan. Anyone better than Eddie Nketiah will work. Anyone, like, just get anyone. Like, get Dominic Solanke. You know what I mean?
No, but that's hoping that Solanke goes and just and hits the ground running and performs. He might come in and be dead as well. You just never know with Arsenal.
But
this is my point.
Can be dead. Man. Anybody can go to any club and be dead. Like Enzo Fernandez went for 100 million, and at the moment, Chelsea fans aren't happy with his performances at the moment. Like,
that's
anyone,
my point, but I think
any transfer now is a risk. In this current moment, Ivan Toney is a risk. They aren't signing Harry Kane, with all due respect to Ivan Toney. Yeah. They aren't signing Harry Kane. They aren't signing Mohamed Salah or Erling Haaland. They aren't signing Karim Benzema in his prime. Yeah, Arsenal fan, like, you think Ivan Toney is going to come in who hasn't played competitive football for 6 months and win them the league? I think that's the main joke, actually.
But the Ivan Toney situation is different, because if you're signing Ivan Toney for the amount that you're signing him for, you're signing him as your main guy up front. If they sign Solanke, you're comparing him to Eddie Nketiah. If Jesus is fit, he doesn't start ahead of Eddie Nketiah, ahead of Solanke, sorry. So if Solanke doesn't start ahead of Jesus. Yeah, I mean, if Jesus is fit. So you're now looking at a player that's going to be off the bench. Now, what you're asking Solanke to do is to replicate what he's doing, playing week in and week out for Bournemouth, doing it in a team that's going to be more difficult because teams are going to set up differently whilst coming off the bench. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So he's looked at it and said, Havertz has flopped in midfield. Where else can Havertz do well in? Look, he looked, I mean, he looked across that, the tapes from Stamford Bridge and saw, Havertz played up front. He pressed well. He's a false nine. Let's put him up front and we can get a midfielder in that can do that number 8 role better than what Havertz is doing.
Arsenal, they do need a striker. If we're being real, Arsenal desperately need a striker. They also need to address the left-back situation, and they also need to address the left centre midfield position as well. 3 positions that I feel that would hugely benefit Arsenal. Kai Havertz, I tried to warn Arsenal fans when they signed him, because a lot of them, I was hearing Dennis Bergkamp regen. Chelsea just didn't know how to use him. But I warned them. Kai Havertz will have 2 purple patches max in a season. The run-up before Christmas and in March. After that, he'll just revert to type, to what he is, which is not good enough. Kai Havertz is not that guy, 100%. Ivan Toney, I think for me, apparently Brentford are asking for close to £100 million for him. I don't think he's worth that kind of money. Absolutely not. But does he improve Arsenal's striking options if he joins the club? 100%. Does he score a lot of the chances that Arsenal have missed, and particularly Kai Havertz this season, that perhaps could have made results a little different? 100% in my opinion. So that's a glaring issue that they need to address, definitely. But Arsenal fans also need to realize, if you're going to be competing at all fronts, if that's your expectation and that's what you want to see from Arsenal, you also need to massively strengthen your bench options as well. because this situation of Eddie Nketiah being an option after Gabriel Jesus, who for me isn't even a natural number 9, Gabriel Jesus, in my honest opinion, not strong enough. When Saliba's injured, who is your option that steps in? Do you know what I mean? If you had an Anderson from Crystal Palace that was an option that was to come off the bench and or was to replace Saliba while he's injured, then that definitely strengthens you. Your left back situation. You've got rid of Kieran Tierney, who's out on loan. He's over there in Sociedad. And now you've got Zinchenko. When Zinchenko doesn't play, you've got to play a left centre back at left back. These are things that you've definitely got to address if you want to be a serious club and want to be competing for actual trophies. 100%.
Honesty, Hortensia saying Arsenal signed Havertz, Spurs, Man United got Mount, Werner. What's next? Liverpool buying Lukaku. And for JG, who is our right back without Trent being available? Just last question before we end the show.
Well, it will be Bradley, isn't it? Currently, unless you go and play Gomez back at right back and hope Simicast or Robertson are back for the next game. But I just don't see that happening. So I think Gomez plays on the left, and I think we play Bradley at right back.
Why don't you play 3 in the back and just?
Klopp that will never do that. Just like that. With this,
he inverts Trent fully.
Yeah, he inverts Trent, and Bradley will still go invert, but he will not go to. The situation where he's going and playing 3 at the back. I just don't see it. He's never done it. So
the people that are asking about Trent has a mild tear in his knee ligament, so he's gonna be out for some weeks. We'll see how it is. But listen, people, this has been absolutely fantastic staying here. It will take you to Hussam's stream. This is Football with him and Tom Go Live. Goonie, Man Knows Football, appreciate you being here. Of course, the channels are in the description, people. Jerry James and Goonie. Of course, the channels are there. So go and give them a subscription, people. It's simple. Doesn't cost you a penny, of course, but it helps them. I want them to come back and say we got 50 or 100 subscriptions. Strikers. The striker situation is in my head. Now listen, people, this has been absolutely fantastic. Goonie, thank you so much for being here, my man. Great talk. Great to see you back. Jerry, fantastic as always. Good luck for Chelsea tonight or not. I don't care. Actually, if they lose, it'll be better for content. It'll be great for content, bro. It will be popping. Tonight, people, we have a reaction show with a Winter Surfer. Of course, we'll have Flawless. We'll have Mohamed Salah. We'll have Nina, of course, back on that channel to talk about the Chelsea game. And we'll see how it is. If they lose today, I think it's going to be I don't know. It's going to be a disaster. Not really. It's Middlesbrough at home. But we'll see. Thank you, guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon. And we're out of here.
Gareth Southgate out.